Welcome to the Yes Anthem podcast with your hosts, Kat London
and Rich Aveo.
What's the Yes Anthem?
The Yes Anthem is the inner desire to find the beautiful things in life.
If everyone sang their Yes Anthem out loud, we'd all sing in harmony.
The Yes Anthem wishes you the courage to like what you like,
choose what you want,
and trust what you love.
Enjoy the episode.
Yes.
This is the Yes Anthem podcast.
It is the Yes Anthem podcast.
That's Kat London.
And that's Rich Aveo.
Hello.
I'm in love with you.
I'm in love with you. I like to face you at this podcast. This is nice. I like this setup.
Oh, your chest looks great.
Thanks. I try. I'm working on it.
You're working on it.
It's a lifelong project.
It is, yeah, because for as long as you have a chest, hopefully it's your full life.
You want to work it.
You want to work
it. You want your chest for your whole life.
You want to work that chest, work it inside out.
Oh, we're doing a cover, a parody even. Nice. I can go with that.
But I promise that this episode will not be primarily about your chest.
All right. That's a little disappointing.
But perhaps
we can work with
a Pandora's chest.
Yeah. Yeah. Why didn't they call it that?
Just a box?
Well,
Well, it might have been a box, not a chest.
Yeah, but like, was anything called a box that long ago?
They, as you so astutely, you're like, why did they call it a box?
The people of the era who, I'm sure Pandora's box was a phrase that was, around for, I don't know, 2,000 years.
Maybe apothecaries only use boxes, no chest. But chests!
Yeah, it should have been called Pandora's chest.
And then I think the song that they played when they were like advertising their chest was, "We're gonna rock this chest right out."
Yeah, that sounds
good.
Yeah, because they had commercials and stuff.
Commercials.
Jingles.
Speaking of music,
Yeah.
my dear, this week has been wild with music, and you told me recently, and then we had a crazy conversation at home about how you stayed up till the ass crack of dawn because you were in hot pursuit of trying to find a track, actually, of an what would you call a film, like a film score that that you created, and actually, did you ever find it?
No,
okay.
I didn't.
Instead, you found a treasure trove, Pandora's chest of a song and multiple songs, but this one particular song that literally cracked into you and made you realize that you had somewhat abandoned, not lost, but abandoned a part of your creativity that you so desperately would like to get back now.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an aspect of it. But yes, I'll just recap what you said.
Yeah.
Years ago, I kind of developed a film, an animated film, which is something that I'd like to continue working on through the course of my life.
I can't wait.
And I already started to compose and record the soundtrack to it. But there's one song that I can't find, and I know I recorded it, and I can't find it anywhere. So I found these old hard disk. What are they called? Why can't I remember the name of these things? No, like the hard drive.
Okay.
A hard drive. So
right.
The old Seagate Maxor hard drive.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, maybe, God, those things are like super old.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe they're on there. Maybe the song's on there. And yeah, so I went in and I got it working on the new Mac, which was a fiasco.
You were up for
I was up till like
time.
4 a.m. But I was up till 4 a.m. because, like you said, obviously, when you open up, it's like finding an old photo album in the attic.
Yeah.
You're not just gonna go, oh, okay, like, oh, here's that photo album of all my old family members. Like,
Yeah,
you're
just
gonna
put this beauty to the side.
Yeah, I'll just
I'll tend to this later. No.
Right.
No.
Exactly. So I looked through all the folders that were in there, came up on a bunch of old pictures.
I was sleeping.
It was literally 2 a.m. at that point. And I came up on a folder that the title of it was just old music work.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, what's in there? Probably like a bunch of old beats and stuff that I made for people through the years. And this was like stuff that I stored when I lived in Newark.
Yeah.
And
yes.
My first recording studio was in my first shithole apartment
I love you.
in the basement of the apartment. We lived in a 2-story, 2-family house.
Okay.
My family, me and my mom and my dad up here.
Shared hallway. No.
Yeah.
It was like yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just probably say 100 years ago it was a single family house,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
And then
that makes sense.
over time, someone converted it to a 2-family house.
And it has a basement.
A basement
that's
that was not sanctioned for whatever. So, but when I got out of college, I wanted my own place, and I was like, I
Yeah.
want to move into the basement.
Yeah.
And it was a functioning apartment. It just wasn't zoned. It was,
You're such a bad boy.
Yeah, it was a dump, man. It was my first, it was my first place. So obviously it was like near and dear to me. And
$1 a month rent.
close.
Wow.
Probably I think 5 ultimately is what we
Okay.
got up to for it.
Decent,
Yeah.
decent.
But it would flood
Nice.
all the time.
That's what you're paying for. You want a swimming pool. in
Yeah.
that basement.
Yeah, when you wake up for work at 7 a.m. and you go to the bathroom in the dark and your socks are in 2 inches of water, it's all through the entire apartment.
You just convince yourself, like, no, I worked out. That's why they're so wet.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I must have had some night sweats. I shouldn't have eaten that trail mix at 2 a.m.
Trail mix.
But,
You're such
yeah.
a bad boy.
So long story long, I found this folder, and
Yeah.
in it was a bunch of shit that I worked on through the years. But this one folder in particular
Yeah.
had my friend's name on the folder.
Oh, yeah?
And this friend, Juan, me, him, and his brother Serge were a group. We almost got signed multiple times
And you guys knew each other since you were young kids,
since we were
right?
5 years old.
Wow. And how old were you now? You said sort of.
What do you mean?
20 like at
when
the
I
t-
when
yeah,
I
when
wrote
you-
that when we did that song?
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably maybe 22.
Okay.
But we had worked on music together for many years since we
Wow.
were like young teens,
Yeah.
and then in our teens we almost got signed. We traveled the world. We did radio tours across the world, and
You
we did
went
a bunch.
to Spain?
Went to Spain. We
Okay.
did like really cool stuff. We were on like a TV show that had like 100 million viewers, and
I
it was like we
love that.
had some
And in the 1890s, that was a lot for TV.
dude. It was like. Be right back. Now, a word from our sponsor, Pandora's Chest. Pandora's Chest.
This
Yeah.
is a horse. Yep.
Yeah, smoke your Marlboros and
smoke it,
Pandora's
right.
chest.
Yep.
But yeah. So I open up this folder and it just says track 1.
Great.
So I'm like,
super
of course, because
explicit.
I went through this phase in my studio where I would not name anything seriously that I was working on.
Why?
I don't know.
Wait, you didn't think the things you were working on were serious enough
No.
to name?
I would work
Or
on
you
them
would
for
be a jokester. That's
not a jokester. I think what I would do is I didn't want to title anything that was in the works, so I didn't want to pigeonhole it to a theme yet, because maybe it didn't have lyric or maybe it didn't have a vibe yet. So I would just like import or export from this hard disk 16-track recording desk that I had
Okay.
onto my computer, my Dell computer. We were rolling.
I think
I
I-
had a state-of-the-art studio.
I had a Dell was one of my first
yeah.
things.
Yeah. And
nice.
I would just name it like Stinky Pinky and have no idea.
Jeez!
You go in like
What is wrong?
you find the track 20 years later and you're like, what the hell is that?
You are. Oh wow.
Yeah. So anyway, but I opened it up and this song played that was like, I would say 70% familiar to me. Like when it started, I was like, that sounds like I produced it for sure.
Yeah.
Because like the mixing was like aged.
The auteur theory, as it were.
Yeah.
In music. I don't know.
Like I could hear
Similar
the
composition.
sonic quality of it. I'm like, now this sounds like something I recorded on this machine.
When I was 22.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I heard it, I listened to it, and I'm just gonna tell you in plain English, it fucked me up.
Spanish or English?
English.
English, right.
Yeah,
You told
we
me that,
did
yeah.
write in Spanish and English. This was toward the latter side of our career when we were kind of like doing more English stuff.
Okay.
Because the Spain record deal was like long
Ruined
past.
your life.
Well,
No,
it was just
I'm
in the
kidding.
past at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And boy, I got to tell you,
You were rocked.
I was rocked hard, and I couldn't figure out why. And all I knew is like I literally I cried, I sobbed, and I couldn't figure out why. And as you mentioned, the next day, which was yesterday.
Your freaking heart chakra was cracked wide open.
I was beat, man. It beat me up big. Like
Your
it was
Pandora's
something.
chest was a thumping.
Yeah, it was like the truth, whatever that truth is,
Wow.
kicked the door down and was like, "What's up, mother?" And it was like, "I'm here for you." And I'm like,
yeah. Oh.
You
well,
know?
what was the most familiar to you became, sorry, the deluge of what flooded back? What was the most familiar
In the
thing?
moment?
Yeah.
I think the thing that hit me first was how good it sounded.
Wow.
And
how nice is that?
Yeah, well, it was because I like to consider, and I'm sure everyone does, as we
Yeah.
progress in our career, we get like exponentially better at what we do from a technical standpoint, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
my mixing back then was what it was.
It's
was
what you knew.
It was the best I could do.
Yep.
I mix way better now.
Yeah.
I have way better gear and all this kind of stuff. And even my composition now is like it's shifted. Wouldn't call it better, but it's grown as I've grown.
Yeah.
And it was just like this moment where like I heard the bridge of this song happen. And in the bridge of that song was this like vocal fugue that I remember composing.
Yeah, you had mega structure.
It
in
was
that
ton of
that
stuff
whole
going on.
Song.
Yeah, and man, it rocked me so hard. And the truth of it was, and it took me 30 hours of conversing with you,
Nonstop.
our in-house therapy session. Yeah, it took it took me a while to figure out that what that pain was that I was feeling was a sense of grief and a sense of mourning that when we were recording that song in the basement of my dumpy apartment,
Wow.
completely oblivious to the fact that it was a shithole apartment, completely oblivious to the fact that we might get shot when we're done recording, when we go outside to get ice cream at CVS or whatever.
Keep going.
This was Newark in the late 90s. But
I'm gonna go get an ice cream at CVS. After
I just remember how unhappy I was in my life at that age for multiple reasons. Unrequited, success in the industry, in the music industry. How many things I'd been through that had failed. How many failures I've had, and just everything. How fickle the industry can be, and blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah. But I also remember how unbelievably blissful I was creating music in that shithole basement. And that song was like if you're in a therapy session, they say like, you had a breakthrough today,
Yeah.
It was a breakthrough. So yes, to your point, it was a big, the realization that I ultimately came to that the pain was that sometimes I feel as though where I stand today in my career, and I'm so grateful for so much of it,
Okay.
there is a part of my artistic soul that I have abandoned. There's a piece, there's a toy that I used to love when I was 10 years old, and I was like, I'm never gonna stop playing with
I've
you.
certainly said that myself. Yes.
And that song was a reminder that I put that toy in the toy box and maybe lost it. It was like my Toy Story moment.
Right.
Where you're like, where's Woody?
Where's Woody?
Oh, there he is. Oh my God, I'm now 40 something, and I don't remember like the last time I felt like that while creating something. Now that's a harsh thing to say. I rescind that.
In that version of when you're having a severe memory of the bliss that you were experiencing in the basement, despite the water flow and the waterfalls. When you were a different version of yourself, it was easier to maybe access that happiness without so much distraction. Granted, you were also like paying your own rent and everything, but maybe responsibilities have shifted. Maybe people's opinions have shifted. That was when you were 22. Now you're in your 40s. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Don't blame yourself for being too harsh.
No, I don't feel any blame.
Yeah.
I think the reason I think this is something that all artists can probably relate to at some point. It's like there's a struggle, there's a tightrope walk that we walk as artists and creatives in the business, where it's like we almost try to avoid growing up too much, but we inevitably grow up as our lives progress. you know, and I think it's like there's a piece of growing up that can be a little painful, you know, like it's like sending your kid off to college and you're just like, oh my God.
There's inevitably going to be lasts for things that
The last time.
They say that for parents. You were saying it to me the other day. Last time you'll have to hold your kid's hand to cross the street and everything. But I think when we think in terms of things where it'll be our last, we also think we've lost things. So that toy that you were wondering, like, where's Woody? That is a part of you that you'll actually never lose, and it is a part of you. And I think when artists or really anybody, if you're a human, I think it's very sad and almost cathartic in like a way of like, oh, that's no longer my responsibility. That was my heyday. I used to be the football star. I'm not half the artist I used to be. And it's gone. It's almost easier to totally abandon and pretend that you've lost that part of yourself where you were like really kicking ass, at least in your own brain. Like, I'm kicking ass even though I'm in a basement, but I'm really like recording these excellent songs. Perhaps it's sadder to face. I don't know, maybe you can give me some words for this. It is sadder to face the fact that you turned yourself toward other choices beside your own art, beside your own athleticism, beside your own friends, let's say, although you do outgrow friends. It's harder and sadder to fess up that you were the one who actually chose to listen to society's responsibilities than the easier way out, which is, I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
At the end, it does kind of freaking hurt you anyway because you actually never lost it. It's always a part of your fabric.
I think that's a thing that happens.
Okay.
For me,
Yeah.
I know I used the word loss in my description of the experience, but I don't think I feel a sense of loss per se.
Good.
I think it's more about just kind of lining up where I was when that song was being captured.
Yeah.
Right? And then I go, man, you know, like there was a hunger and a fire in my belly while I was creating it.
Hunger.
And
Nice.
I think
Yeah.
with the feeling, and I think any creative who is at their thing, doing their shit for 20 plus years, encounters moments throughout their life
Yeah.
where they have to reflect on where they are compared to where they were. And yeah, the needle moves. And yes, you grow. You get better. You get smarter. You get whatever. You know, things work out and things don't work out. You have successes and failures. But sometimes it's a real painful process, I think.
Is it painful because when you say it's time where we have to, there's a moment of reflection to see where you are now versus before. Is it because when often we are told to reflect, even in like just daily speech, like, oh, have you reflected on, that speech you just made? Like, what could we have done better? And we debrief or whatever. It's more of a comparison and a better, like it's a very vertical relationship instead of, and I'm not saying anything's better or worse, because is there anything better or worse? Who's to say?
Good, bad, who knows?
Good, bad,
right?
who
As they
knows?
say.
Should reflection? Here I'm using like these weird trigger words like should. It's embedded in me so
Very
hard. It's so hard.
It's hard to find the right mentality of it.
What I'm trying to say is this so-called reflection, could we call it these moments of gratitude that we should encounter as our milestones?
Yeah.
And growth and gratitude?
I think that's a healthier way to describe it, to like categorize it.
Does that differ from what you're saying, or is it just the same shit with a different title?
I think it's the same shit with a different title.
How so?
Because I think that I'm a very grateful person.
Yeah.
Maybe not always my whole life, but I've definitely worked toward that. Making that part of my,
I can say the same thing.
Making that part of my DNA, kind of restructuring my DNA to be grateful every day.
Upregulating.
Yeah, upregulating, exactly. And so I think even through the process that I went through the other night, there was a deep gratitude, which enhanced the emotion. It made me even more vulnerable to the emotion because I was so grateful.
Listen
I was
to me,
grateful
listen
for a number.
to me, and the heart's pounding.
Yeah, I mean, I was grateful for, like I said, I was grateful for the fact that we were so damn good when we were young. That young.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my God, what a miracle! What an amazing thing.
And did you know that? I don't want to sidetrack. Did you know that at the time, perhaps, that you were good?
I think.
Was there an anger peppered into like, we're so damn good, why aren't we famous?
I think there might have, at that point in our lives, I think there was probably a little bit of a resentment in there.
Youngness can give that.
As my therapist would say,
Yes.
oftentimes the problem happens as soon as you make a comparison.
Boom.
So like, and it's hard to reflect without comparing because it's the past. I wasn't who I am today at that time.
Right.
So you're comparing, you're lining up these two versions of yourself, these two moments of your life that are literally a lifetime apart.
Why does your therapist say, does something come to mind? Is that just something you remember them saying, or is there like a...
Oh no, I'm
thing?
always at the butt of that remark. It's always like it's always because
you did a comparison.
Yeah, or
I did a poopy.
I did a boom on the rug.
I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just had like an image of your mother. I don't know why. Just going, Rich, you did a boom on the rug. What did I tell you about the boom on the rug?
My mom is way too vulgar to I almost said euthanize, but to what's the word I'm looking for? A euphemism? Is there a verb version of euphemism? Can you euphemize something?
Today.
A dog?
Today we can. God,
My
man.
mom. Well, what else do you euthanize?
Don't ever. You could do a human.
Yeah, I guess.
Do it to me.
Dr.
To put me out of my
Kevorkian.
misery
I've thought
now.
about it a couple times.
While you're sleeping with a pillow.
Yeah. What is she allergic to?
Not much.
Unfortunately.
Oh, winter squash.
Yeah, but not to the euthanization
I doubt
degree.
it, though.
I've tried. I've made you plenty of squash.
Yeah, a lot of spaghetti squash.
Yeah, ground up some peanuts in there. It's like, she can eat the nuts. Yeah, my mom wouldn't say boom. Mom would say,
What?
she would just use the word shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no boom on the rug. Not in the Geneval household. By the way, full disclosure for anybody who's listening and or watching. I know some of you might already know who we are personally. Some might just be encountering us for the first time. Everybody's like, what is your damn name? Me.
What is your name?
Because I use three names. Rich Geneval Aveo is the name that I go by. But I refer to myself as Rich Aveo.
Right.
So when we refer to the Geneval household, which I'm sure will come up in this podcast
I
a
hope
lot.
all the time.
Because if you and I are just now that we're facing each other and we're just conversing, it's going to come up. That's my dad's last name.
Right.
Yeah. So in the Geneval household, there's no booms on the rug.
Nah.
You just shit on it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Have you ever shot on the rug?
I shot on a guest bed
Are
once.
you fucking kidding me?
I told you the story recently. I mean, do we want to get into this today?
I thought that was your. Oh my God! It was with your
It
band.
was, of course. Well, we were inseparable. We were literally like three brothers.
Tell me more about you shitting with your band.
Great. Here we go.
I think is.
Yes,
is
and
good.
ready? I'll give you the quick version of this story. These two same friends moved out of Newark after
Thank God, 'cause
after
crazy.
after high school. They moved into Belleville, which
Okay.
was right next to Newark, and
Since then, it's broken off into the ocean.
yeah, their basement was like semi-finished, So
This was. Oh my God.
yeah, so like my two friends, they were brothers,
Yeah.
always shared a room when we were kids,
Right.
bunk beds, and then they moved into Belleville, and they had two separate rooms in the finished side of the basement.
Okay.
And the three of us were literally like I said,
Yeah.
Juan was 6, I was 5, Serge was 3 when we met.
6, 5, and 3.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
How did he keep up?
He's
Was he cooler than both of you combined?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
There's no question. Serge is the coolest one out of all of us. Wow. But anyway, here's how I shit the bed. And I will say that phrase one more time before the story's over.
Oh,
Foreshadowing.
7 more times at least.
At least. It was summer. I was sleeping over,
It was a Wednesday.
as we often did. The
Yeah.
night was sultry.
Yeah.
And it was hot as shit. It was summertime. The basement, no AC in it because it wasn't yet done.
Yeah, definitely put kids down there.
Well, you just did what you did. You just whatever. You just throw a fan on.
Said like a true Italian.
Said like somebody who grew up who had an
Latino.
apartment that flooded. Yeah, you just do what
You just
do.
did what you did.
You brush your teeth in the water. You stand in the damn water and you brush your teeth, and then you go, you curse it out for a while, then go to work with your squeaky shoes. So because the basement was half finished.
Okay. The other side was lava, right?
Yeah, and so speaking of lava, foreshadowing again. It was hot, and we didn't want to keep having to go like up and down to like get water.
Yeah, God forbid.
Throughout the night. Well, it was just like we knew we were going to be drinking a lot of water because it was hot.
Because you guys are crazy guys.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I was probably like 16. No, I might have been about 17.
Drinking a lot of water.
They were drinking water. You know how kids do in the basement.
God, you guys,
We weren't cool kids. Listen, I've
of course
never
you
claimed
sang
to be.
harmony and fugues together.
Damn
you were
right.
the worst.
Damn right, man.
I can't believe that. I was cooler than you.
So
Continuing.
one of us had the brilliant idea.
Oh, boy.
Dude, there's a sink down here. There's a sink in the basement. What are we doing wasting this energy
What
going
are
up and
we
down, like
doing?
working up a sweat?
Why
It's
don't we drink
hot.
from this hose?
Let's drink from this septic tank in the back of the basement or whatever the hell it was. Anyway, long story short, we have Chinese food for dinner.
Oh.
We're guzzling back this basement water. Wow. And in the middle of the night, we had a real problem. And I just remember that
Everything was a team effort, right?
Yeah. So then, pitch black room. I don't know what time it was. All I know is your boy made a boom on the rug.
Oh, and by the rug, you mean
I mean the
L
bed that I was
mattress?
sleeping in. So literally, when they say you shit the bed.
Yeah.
So now that's the second time I've said the phrase. Now here's where it's pertinent to the story.
Right on.
Serge, I happened to be sleeping in his room with the portable mattress on the floor, and room is pitch black.
Great.
And you know how sometimes there's sentences or phrases that you've heard through your life that they're like etched into your brain. You never forget like a moment your teacher said something or
Yeah.
Well, this is one of those moments, and I just remember it's dark in his room, and I'm like, oh, well, I don't know what to do. So I get up and I go, dude, and he goes, the first words out of his mouth in the pitch darkness was, "What'd you do?"
No.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about knowing each other.
Well, he just knew. There's no reason.
12? If you're 16?
Yeah, he's probably
13.
probably 13.
Okay.
Yeah. And I could have the ages off by a couple years. I might have been 19.
I
have
didn't know
no
Juan
idea.
was older than you.
He's like a few months older than me.
Oh, okay.
But I always bust his chops that he's older. Yeah. So
What did you do?
what did I do? I made a boom on the rug.
And you said, I made a boom
I said,
on the rug.
I shit the bed.
Shut the
And he goes, what? And we popped the lights on, and sure enough.
No.
Yeah, I was very sick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to be totally
I
clear,
think that explains a lot of who you are today.
I have almost died multiple times. Like, you just can't take me out. I am literally like,
You're a magnet for disaster.
I'm Deadpool.
Yeah. Wow.
You can try. I'll drink poison water. You can flip my truck over on the parkway. I'm just gonna
you
kind of
have.
Mr. Magoo my way right out of the
did,
situation.
Yeah, get hit by a car and fly off the parkway, and then called me before the cops like an idiot. Okay.
Yeah, well,
Well, that's true love.
I also tapped Serge on the shoulder. But I guess what we're getting at today is that I can't handle my problems by myself. I definitely need to tell somebody I'm close to that I'm having a real hard time first.
And then,
Why are we talking about this right now? Oh, the boom on the rug. I'm like, why am I on a podcast saying that this happened to me?
I don't know, because people are gonna offer you money one day to hear about your disasters.
You come here for the real conversation.
I suppose this is real. I'd like to think it's fake and that I'm dreaming, but
Yeah,
I've had worse nightmares.
This is oh yeah, me too. This is as real as it gets, though.
You guys were super close. The fact that he said, "What did you do?" and he was woken up from probably a great dream.
He was probably
until
having
he woke
a
up
wonderful
to your
sleep.
nightmare.
Yeah.
Tell me who was singing at the time, who was composing at the time.
The dynamic of the
your
group.
dynamic of the group, and also this is really great because I don't know why this is like flooding into me right now, but people think. What do you think about this? People think that in order to be an artist, you have to be an artist when you're a kid, and you can't be. What do I call it? Whatever, a budding artist when you're of age, like, 50,
Like
60,
aging
70, 80.
out of the system, kind of a thing.
The system of this freaking, well, this is a current reference, but of this like what the hell is it even called? I hate it so much I can't even. America's Got Talent, all that bullshit. But in the back of it, what was it like? What was for kids? Like when we were finding out if they were like worth it or not, or
Back in the day,
Prodigy.
or like
yeah,
recently?
back in the day.
Oh man.
Like when you guys were doing your thing, what was like the thing that like.
It's a good
Like
question.
kids were doing their thing, and
Yeah.
if you weren't a kid doing art, you sure as hell weren't going to make it when you were, even 26. Like,
Oh, well, see, yeah.
and if you're a woman and you turn 30, you
You're
might as
out.
well be dead. Like,
30's, you're giving it some credit by saying 30.
sure, and yeah, I'm 34, so that's telling. That's
Yeah.
like very telling of like the encouragement that I witnessed and the discouragement that I witnessed
Yeah.
growing up. But you probably witnessed way more discouragement.
Yeah, it was really harsh.
But I guess what
in the
I'm
90s.
saying is it was the 90s, as we
Yeah,
like to say,
yeah.
as you like to say.
Yeah, I usually say it's the 80s, but yeah.
Really? You
Yeah.
would say, you would, I thought you would always say it was the 90s.
I mean, they're kind of both
Okay.
two sides of the same coin.
it was 1988.
They're perfect.
Right. But I'm drawn to just, we don't have to talk too much about this, but I'm like, doesn't it suck that you think that you can't touch art until you're like some prodigy whack job like yourself? And how funny is this? The word prodigy. Ooh,
not a real thing.
it's not a real
It's
term.
not a real thing.
It's freaking fake. But you were, not but, man, talk about the untraining yourself with these words.
Yeah.
It's just so easy to say like common terms like, you weren't a prodigy, but you were super good, weren't you? Like that's where my mind was going.
Yeah.
But you got to untrain yourself because I think the crux of the philosophical take home is like, you can do art whenever the fuck you want to.
Yeah.
Who cares that your parent, let's say, well, it's steering a kid. Like you're steering a kid at a young age toward a certain thing. That's a pretty common prototype of like the parent intervening.
Like nurturing.
Nurturing's
a friendly way to say it.
Well, no, nurture is actually, I think, different because if the
Okay.
kid is like, I love drums, and you're like, here's a drum set.
Yeah.
I want to say caressing, curving, man, words. But steering a kid into something that you want them to do is bad. I'm like hitting on a few topics that we'll
It's a
get
deep
to.
topic. It's a deep
It's
topic
so deep
for
that I'm
artists.
getting a little scatterson.
It's a trigger. We're triggering.
I am
we're
very-
triggered. We're triggered with this for sure.
And I would love to keep triggering you
yeah,
during
and I
this
and I hope
podcast.
everyone listening to this is getting a little triggered in their own ways too.
Yeah.
Because I think, and I didn't mean to cut you off with this, but
Yeah.
I just feel
Go
like
ahead.
I feel like the path
think
we're
I
on
need a
with
nap.
it is. I think the path we're on with it is that like we as artists, I think, have learned so much bullshit, and we've
Yeah.
been told so much bullshit. Like
Yeah.
when I was a kid, a lot of people did treat me as though I was some kind of prodigy in
Right.
music. You know, I was able to do some pretty miraculous
You were
stuff
playing
when I was
classical
young.
music for the King and Queen of Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, that's literally true. Yeah, no, but I was, a pretty, And it's hard to say these words about myself because
Right,
I don't
like
believe in them anymore. I don't believe
accomplished or
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Like what is an accomplishment?
Exactly. I had a lot of credits to my name.
I like
when I was
but
young.
then credit.
What the
Think
hell
about
does it
credit
mean?
with value too.
Yeah. What does it mean? You can cash in on it
He
later.
gets more,
Right.
whatever, like
Yeah, more
like a
favor.
higher roll on the D20.
Exactly,
You know, like
yeah.
ooh, that's more valuable of a strike.
Right.
Like no, it's not.
Exactly.
You mother pooper.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, recently, and by recently, I mean probably within the last decade, had to unlearn all the bullshit that we go into the arts with.
Did that contribute to the more, like when you were Okay, so in your current day of this week of us crying together over this song, was part of your like, oh, my heart, my Pandora's chest was just cracked open. Is that part of you also remembering how fucking shitty it felt that you guys were
Yes.
like, I'm 22 and I'm too old for this. Remember when we were talented, when we did have our shot just years prior in Spain to be like the next Spanish signed musician?
There were so many points in our career.
Like you literally dug your own grave. You literally like were born and then dug your own grave within the span of probably 4 years. Like you were a kid.
Yeah, it was long. I mean, we
Oh, it was
started
long-
doing it
when you were
we
young,
really
young,
young.
right?
But yes,
But what
100% yes to what you're saying.
Why did you put, or did you? I guess is the question. Why did you put the freaking end? Why does the brain put the bookend on that?
It's not. I don't think it's the brain. I think it's society.
Okay.
I think.
The society's influence, of course.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I was told numerous ways that
You weren't enough.
yeah, you're too this, you're too that.
Yeah.
You know, you're. Yeah, I remember being like 24, and I'm not going to name any names, but I had an opportunity to like go into a record label office and kind of speak to someone, and they were like, "Now, how old are you again?"
Ah, boy.
And I was like 24. They went, "All right, well, you're a little old, but okay."
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because what they're doing is they're doing this fucking mathematical equation going.
Fuck you, man.
They're going,
Yeah,
well, it's going to take
art's
two.
money,
It's going to
art's
take 2
money.
years of artist development before
Yeah.
anything happens.
Wow,
So by that
2
time,
years.
it's 26.
Right, because you're a fucking idiot. I forgot that you don't. Well, you see, when you're on a stage, you want to cheat out to the camera.
Yeah, and make sure you
Ooh,
don't sing
do
with
I
your eyes
have-
closed so much.
Don't sing with your eyes closed. That's
Yeah.
my favorite. I forgot I was born yesterday, you
Yeah.
prick. Right.
Well, anyway, but
Anyway,
yeah, so
I'm a little angry.
No, I mean, look, it's the Yes Anthem.
Yeah,
Okay,
baby.
is
That's where we
the
are.
purpose of this is to find some nucleus of energy
Yeah.
and roll with it, allow it, and let it become what it needs to become.
Very good.
And I think since we're talking about the industry today,
Yeah.
from a musical standpoint anyway, and I
Yeah.
know it's true for comedy as well,
Oh, we'll get to it.
and we will. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but we will.
Right.
They feed you a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think to your
And you
original,
believe it.
To your original question,
Yeah.
yes, part of that mourning that I felt,
Yeah.
MOURN,
Yeah.
was
Morning.
a sense of yes. Can you use it in a sentence?
Ten.
When I euphemized my goldfish, I was in mourning. I think that I was grieving how naive I was as well.
Oh.
Like when I wrote that, there were many times like leading into my late teens and early 20s that I felt this is my shot. This is my last shot. Maybe. I don't know. But it's got to be this. If I'm going to get out of this apartment, if I'm going to do this with my life, which by the way, musicians, and painters and dancers and comedians and I don't know what else is there.
Mommies and daddies.
Mommies, daddies, anyone who wants to do anything and envisions their future. Improvement is not it's not Eden. Whatever you're going through right now, whatever situation you're trying to improve upon right now,
Yeah.
the opposite of that is not having $30 million in your checking account.
Kaboom.
It's not the opposite. There's a gradient between where you are now in your wet sopping socks and having someone fan you with a banana leaf and put grapes in your mouth for you. There's a whole life of difference between those two things.
So you said mourning your naivete. Mad that you were naive, or sad that you didn't caress your younger self and go, "It's okay, it's okay."
If from a psychological standpoint, I'm sure that I felt a sense of sorrow. I wanted to apologize to myself
Okay.
for not necessarily, I'm smarter now,
Yeah.
and man, I
Knowledge
wish
is power.
knowledge is power, and I kind of I think the initial sense that I felt was like, God, I wish that Rich
Yeah.
was sitting right here, right now, so I could say, hey, man,
He is.
I'm proud of you, and you were always good enough. You that song, you should be proud of that song.
Yeah.
And just because it never saw the light of day,
Yes.
from a success standpoint, means nothing. You birthed a baby, essentially.
Yeah.
You brought life to a thing in a way that was uniquely you, in a way that 40-year-old you sometimes wishes he had access to.
Right.
Being that unique, that genuine.
You were, though.
I know.
And you will. You are.
Yes, and I recognize that, but I also think that 20-year-old
Yeah.
me, the hunger and the fire consumed a little too much of what he thought his art should.
It was probably
would
being
do.
stoked by promises of that 30 mil, maybe, or getting out of that basement, maybe a little.
I guess, yeah.
Stoked by the wrong things.
Yeah,
Because you just said would, should.
well, I think in my mind, I don't think at that age I understood yet. I was
Yeah.
close to it though, because at that point in my career, I had just come back from Vegas. I was out there for a couple years doing music full time,
Nice.
and saw a whole different side of the business that I
Yeah.
didn't really know exist, which was where we are today, which is the entrepreneurial route,
Yes.
the independent route,
Yeah, yeah.
not necessarily depending on a gatekeeper.
Right on.
To
I
make-
hope they find me so that I can get signed.
Yes,
you know,
I'm not
like an
seeking
agent.
discovery so
Yeah,
much
yeah.
as I am just kind of trying to create my own thing.
Yes.
21-year-old me didn't know what that was, and 21-year-old me just thought, man, this song is special. They're all special, right? When you make your thing,
Yeah.
they could stink, but they stink of your stink,
Yeah.
which is good enough.
Yeah.
But you don't say that. You say, it stinks of my stink.
Yeah.
Someone else now has to tell me this is good enough.
Ha ha.
When you're identifying
Ha ha.
with this creation of yours, and
Right.
you identify with other people's opinions, and then you try to line that up against your own belief in it.
Yep.
It's tough.
Then they start fucking you up, because
course.
because you're like, wait, nothing starts to work in your favor because the resistance is now at play.
Yeah, it
'Cause
all
I think-
compiles.
Yeah, the way life becomes bliss when you are most yourself. So the more, think about it, because the more intense your music career gets, most likely the more people you're meeting and the more people you're collaborating with, whether maybe in a production studio or a co-writer or just collaborating with a venue or something. So the more opinions are now at play. So there's even more of a rip current being taken away from your authentic self. You're like, wait, the kid who wrote poetry in his room, but all the other opinions are calling you like a siren song, going, but wait, here's some advice that used to work for me.
Yeah.
And you're like, shit, maybe 22 is too old, maybe 24 is too old, and then how funny, and then you stop writing music.
Thankfully, neither one of us did that.
Right.
Some people do.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who did.
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of people who were as hungry as I was, and then just because of a lot of bad advice and because of you can fall to this side of the tightrope, which is you go down the rabbit hole of art and then you start like hating it, or you fall on this side of the tightrope and you're like, I got to grow up. I have to stop playing these games. I need a family. I need to get a job, yada, yada.
Meanwhile, both are distractions because they're both, you've never lost you. You've never lost. It's why your Pandora's chest was cracked open, is because you never lost that boy.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think what made me cry was the power of, I said, I'll say this on the podcast. I didn't want to say what I said to you, but I am. I'm me, and whatever's in my mind, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
My dad has passed.
Yeah.
And I could only equate the feeling I got when I initially started to cry in the studio to saying it would be like coming home one day, opening the door, and then seeing my dad standing there. Like, my knees would give out, I would fall to the ground, I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
Because you're realizing they were not gone. And I think that's what I experienced for myself when I saw a version of myself that I really haven't exclusively been.
Yeah.
When I wrote, that's an important thing
you're right.
too.
Yes, all right, I get
when
that.
When I wrote that song, man, I went to my shit job. I came home dejected, poor, unhappy, but boy, oh boy, all my free time was doing that.
Yeah.
And now I do different things with my free time, which I'm grateful for. I'm not upset about it per se, but it was like seeing a dead version of myself.
Wow.
Realizing that it was never dead.
Never dead. Yeah.
And you're like, oh, shit.
I guess you're here to stay.
I'm in trouble now, huh?
So I have to take that dead self out to coffee this week?
Right, so that's it. So we're boys again?
Right,
or like what?
yeah.
How does this work? Do we kiss? What is this? What happens?
I think that would be a great porn.
Yeah, oh my God.
Rich on Rich, Aveo Genival.
Yeah.
Genival Aveo.
Oh my God.
We do a boom in the bed. Dominic Dominatrix.
I am working so hard to think of a title for this film. It's just not coming to me. I'm too open. I'm too
Feel
vulnerable.
Feel free, Ming, if you come up with a title, just to interject.
Yeah, I mean, what would your title? What are your 7 titles for the porn starring Rich and Rich? I'd probably just call it Dick, all capital letters.
The capitalization.
All lowercase letters and a period at the end.
Wow. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. There you go.
There in kindergarten. There was a short story. No, first grade. We read a book, or we had to. We had reading assignments during first grade, and I don't remember a lot from the first grade, except for Dick Whittington, the story of Dick Whittington, and
Why do that to a first grader?
What? I don't know. Here's the thing. I was not seasoned in bad words and shit, and I can't even believe I wasn't allowed to do shit. But I guess it was probably some asshole kid who was like, "You know what Dick is, Cat?" I'm like, I don't know.
In the first grade?
Probably, and then we were just like, "Hey, Dick Whittington." Actually, I think it was my cousin. Oh my God!
Now, of course.
I also had a creepy crawler that I named Snot, and I kept Snot in my desk. And I got in trouble.
For a creepy crawler?
A creepy crawler whose bed, guess where he slept?
Where?
On my eraser. I kept it. There's a piece of hair.
Creepy crawlers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got in trouble for having a creepy crawler in your desk?
Because on the eraser, it was one of those thick, flat erasers.
Yeah.
With pencil, I wrote his name because it was his bed.
So the word snot got you in trouble?
Yeah.
You foul little bitch.
Yeah, and ask me.
Was Snape your teacher?
Yes.
What kind of teacher?
I think it was Mrs. Bell.
What kind of teacher?
It was a teacher who thought little girls should be nicer because they're girly.
Was she 1,000 years old?
Well, at the time.
Was it Pandora?
Just Pandora's box.
God almighty. What a shame.
What the hell? Oh, yeah, your porn. We were talking about your porn. Rich on Rich. You're going to be taking out this, I'm not calling it an alter ego. I'm going to call it yourself, your ego, out to lunch a few times this week to get back into it.
It's a blessing because I think something that growing artists and I don't mean growing as in budding. I mean aging artists. Everyone at some point feels like they're an aging artist. I don't care how enlightened you are. I'm pretty sure at some point
Some part
you go,
society has punched you in the face
Exactly.
to make you question yourself.
it's a trauma.
Even though in the quantum realm,
Yeah.
time is, there's no such thing as time.
Yeah, but it's a blessing because
Or whatever.
what I did encounter
Yeah.
is what you said earlier, is that you are never gone. And I am blessed because I think a lot of artists will go their whole lives only looking forward
Right on.
and feeling that they have to keep shedding the old them, and they
Right.
have to shed the younger them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm of the belief that your inner child
Yeah.
is what keeps you an artist. If you have access to your inner child,
They say that a lot with improv.
yeah.
If you keep go ahead. If you keep access to your inner child,
Yeah, well, if you, exactly that. If you can keep access to your inner child, you can always be an artist. I think it's when you tell the inner child, like,
okay, bye.
playtime's over.
Yeah, playtime's over. Sure.
I don't play anymore.
And, which is funny, and the reason why it hurts is because that's actually not true.
Yeah,
Playtime's never over.
agree.
You can choose. I would say you can choose to pretend it's not over. Mm-hmm. When in actuality, playtime is never over.
And to me, that you just defined aging
Yes.
when you pretend playtime's over.
And that's why I think improv saves. I usually say improv saves lives. Improv saves life.
Yeah,
Now, it saves lives in that I think if we are in an inclusive, because I hate exclusive, I am all about horizontal relationships, which means there's no hierarchy. I don't care how much experience you have. I don't care how old you are, because that's another thing about age. You think the older you are, listen to me, kid. Ooh, I hate
unless you're in music, because
that
clearly
phrase.
the older you get, the more useless you are, right?
right. Yeah.
Music.
How
The
does
older
that
you
work?
get, the dumber you are.
Yeah.
But like everything else, the older you are, it's
Isn't
like listen
that
to that
sick?
guy.
Listen,
he's
yeah,
been
exactly.
around a long time.
Right. Until oh, you're not negative 21 years old.
Yeah.
Sorry, no one's gonna listen to your song.
Right.
Like, fuck. How wild is that? That's so
Yeah.
triggering that I can only just gaze into your eyes with like that Italian fist to my chin.
This right here
This.
for the listeners. I'm making the Italian 3-finger.
That's right. Mozzarella.
What the?
Mozzarella. Capicola. Gabagool. Wait, how do you say it?
You should
Ham.
be ashamed of yourself.
I don't even know. Ham.
You
Did I say it
are.
right? Ham.
Yeah, ham.
Cam?
It's actually
Capicola.
the H is silent.
Artichoke.
It's,
Did I say that right?
Artichoke? Yeah. You are Italian,
Right.
like fully.
No.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
a little pork and cheese. I'm a little French.
By a
I'm a
little.
little.
By a little.
We found out that part of my family stabbed his wife.
True enough.
Great.
A great, great, great relative.
Yeah. Scottish.
And then got remarried because, I
Because
mean,
that's how you do it
God.
in my family.
how easy was it back then
Yeah.
to find
Super
to
easy.
find a mate?
Yeah.
So tell me about yourself. Well,
Well,
I stabbed me ex-wife.
and they're like, and what? Yeah, and
Nothing.
nothing.
Want to get married? That's a pretty Irish accent. That's not a good Scottish
But
accent.
now
I can't do
Sarah
Scottish.
Silverman.
Yeah, right. We'll just slide in.
We're doing
gratuitous impression
impression.
in,
Now
yeah.
we're doing impressions.
Yeah.
I forget what I was. Improv as the inner child.
Mm-hmm.
And what about it? I'm only getting bits and bobs of what we were talking about.
What's the phrase that they say in improv about that? You said that's a thing in improv, the inner child. Is it like?
I don't think I don't know if there's a saying.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like.
I just do think that there is it's the most important to preserve. No, preserve makes it sound like it's frozen peas or shit
in
or like
touch
a
with?
fossil. Yeah, I think you have to tap into the inner child. I think the belief, you have to believe that it's there. Mm-hmm. Because the child And here's where I have a problem with the surface level of being like, tap into your inner child, because then we're led to believe, some people could be led to believe, others might be a little more keen and astute and intrinsic about it, and they kind of feel what I'm vibing right off the bat, is that it's not just the child in yourself that has the capability to be like this rad motherfucker who knows how to access delight. Your adult self, however you want to label it, is also full and capable of delight. You just have to, I think it's what you're saying ultimately, is that we call it inner child, but really what it is you.
Yeah.
It's you. We've been you this whole time, you asshole. Like,
Yeah.
it's been you. And improv is really sweet because it exercises a muscle that has atrophied, which is being silly in front of other, here's another label, adults.
Adults, yeah.
Yes, being silly, because what does it mean? It means vulnerability. And when you're vulnerable in the wild, you're gonna get killed by a bear. We talk about that a lot, like what it might mean for
Survival.
survival,
Yeah.
you know, and how we lose that muscle, and then the muscle goes like, bye. Like the muscle's still there, but it's like this like stringy spaghetti tendon. Mm-hmm. Spaghetti, did I pronounce that right?
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
Yeah. Giada, that's how Giada De Laurentiis would
She's
always
got
say
to
her
stop
pastas.
with that.
Yeah.
She's got to stop.
It's only like Spanish and Italian that does that stuff though.
How do you say spaghetti in Spanish? Spaghetti!
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty close.
It's just louder.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, there's no whisper gene in Spanish-speaking cultures.
Goodness gracious, no.
Yeah. It's not like
And
that.
I can say that because you can say that.
Yeah, you can by proxy you can speak toward the Latino culture. Yeah, it's true though. God, there is no.
I make a boom on the bed.
No, it's more like. How would you whisper? I made a boom on the bed to me.
Hey, babe.
Yeah. Would you do?
Hold on. All right. I got to stop gagging. Babe.
Would you do?
I made a boom on the bed.
Okay.
Wait, let me do that again. Hold on. Babe.
What'd you do?
I made a boom on the bed.
That's a whisper for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to know my mix, my heritage, before going
Sure.
forth? Or okay, so Irish, Italian, Portuguese, French, Scottish, English.
No Spanish-speaking cultures.
No.
Ready?
Ready. Say, okay, go ahead. Do I have to say Serge's line?
You do.
And what do you say?
What'd you do?
What'd you do?
Do you want to dry run it? Or you
Yeah.
want to just wing it?
We can wet sock run it.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
Now, this is a Spanish-speaking, English-speaking Spanish.
I already hate it. Continue.
Babe, already.
What? Actually, you drove my... Are you saying that? I'm so angry right now. You drove me from 0 to at least 105.
Triggered culture.
I couldn't even, that is, I'm being honest with the thing that just shot through my body. I can't even whisper to you the way I wanted to whisper. All right, let's try this again. I just fucked this up.
Welcome
I couldn't even do
to
it.
the Latino culture.
Wow.
See?
That is
Do you understand?
the worst.
It's hard,
All
man.
right, say it again.
I would
that's
be
funny.
so pissed
Yeah.
off at my dad on a regular basis
Oh, my
because
God, I
if we're
am
trying to
so
sleep,
Panic.
if we're trying to sleep, my father would just think that he's being respectful.
Hey. Like what?
Yeah, well, I'm
when
trying
you
to think.
were okay.
Like, he just couldn't be quiet.
Oh my God.
He couldn't be quiet. The only way my dad could be quiet is if he just wasn't talking. Like if we were in church,
Oh, jeez.
he just.
Which was all in Spanish?
Oh yeah, God! And I didn't speak Spanish as a kid.
Yikes.
I didn't. I still kind of don't speak Spanish. I mean,
Right.
I can speak it, but like I'm like.
I do.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, he just would completely quiet.
Good night.
No, that's shouting.
Okay.
You don't have to shout.
To be.
You just have to. The next time you're on,
You don't have to shout to be Spanish.
next time you're on a subway or something, just as
subway.
a social
or anything.
Well, I'm thinking of a place that there's like a lot of people in a close
Like
area
a book club?
where you're also sort of expected to like not be like
Yourself?
or just you're not loud, right? Unless you're a crazy person.
Yeah.
But like as a little private social experiment,
Okay.
the next time you're in a scenario, and not a restaurant, because you get the worst. You get the worst of regular people in a restaurant.
Yeah, that's true.
On the subway, you just get the crazies who are loud.
Right on,
but if
right
you're
on.
like a regular person who's like pretty self-aware, you try to be like sort of quiet on a train or something, right? If you happen to have the pleasure of sitting near either a Spanish-speaking group of people
Okay.
or a people speaking English who are, clearly, of Spanish heritage,
Yeah.
pay real close attention to the delivery of the lines
Okay.
and the intensity.
Yeah.
Did you notice how you?
Is this why you have insomnia?
Oh
Notice that,
yeah,
yeah.
no, I mean that definitely my father 100% a big contributor to my insomnia. 100%.
You say, okay, notice. What am I noticing?
Oh, I was gonna say for yourself.
Yeah.
When I asked you to whisper, I did a boom
Jesus.
on the rug. Your intensity went way down. You were like, I did a like you
Apologetic.
It's
There
kind
was
of apologetic.
shame. There was
Yes.
there was a help me, please.
something. There's
Wipe my
something.
boom from the bed.
Yeah. Let's figure this out
that sexy?
together.
Yeah.
Is it
Let's figure
sexy?
this out together. Yes.
Yeah, and I just challenge all of you. The next time you're not being racist. As a Latino, I give you permission to do this. Just observe.
okay.
Don't make a judgment. That makes you racist. Just
Tell
observe.
us the parameters of when I become racist during this scenario.
What's the crossover?
Right. No. I'm being facetious.
I know. I was going to facetiously give you
Oh,
the
you were?
actual
You had
the actual.
an answer to the okay.
I was gonna
All
make one up.
I was making fun of you for telling me when I can and cannot be racist.
Well, I'm just saying, as soon as you make a judgment about someone, that's based on their culture. That's
Yes,
probably when you're racist.
hierarchically,
But if you just observe something,
Right.
that's it.
So what are these people doing that I'm observing?
Oh, I'm saying
yelling? Not yelling.
probably not yelling,
Okay.
but I promise it's not whispering. I
What's your
promise.
favorite line in Spanish in like any song that you like?
Oh, like a lyric?
Like a lyric.
Oh,
yeah.
my God, that's hard.
All right, you get 3. Oh man. You get 2. It's gonna keep getting shorter the more time you take.
I know. I'm trying to think of that's a hard one because it's like I have some favorite songs in Spanish, but then I have to like dissect the lyric
Right.
because again, Spanish is not my first language.
Right.
So it takes me a little bit to also process Spanish music
Yeah.
from a lyrical standpoint.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Because you were not made to write. Juan and Serge
I was,
forced you
though.
to write Spanish.
Well, in a way, you're not wrong
Huh.
because of society.
Your society being primarily.
But we were trying to figure out where we fit in the industry.
Oh, okay.
And we happened to I was exposed to a style of Spanish
Asbestos?
music through them,
Okay.
and my father had listened to Spanish music, but growing up I didn't like merengue and salsa and stuff like that. It's too how embarrassing, dude.
Real quick, just tell us, and then we'll go back to
I remember
how
being
you had
outside.
to fit yourself into Spanish society.
I remember being outside. I remember my father had to come pick me up after something I did. I was younger, probably 13 years old, and I'm standing outside with whoever was like, I think it was like a bowling trip that I went on with like a program I was in.
Are
We
you
had like
kidding me?
it was just like a social event for the kids in the program.
A bowling trip.
I think so. I think it was
Here
something
I'm
like that.
making fun of it because I bowled with my babysitter Lillian all the damn time.
You were also, first of all, on the bowling team.
Tell
so
him.
Don't
Tell him, Genevieve. Tell him.
don't knock me going to bowl for fun, which is
right.
actually the only thing you're supposed to do with
With
bowling.
the same cousin that in first grade that I think we cumulatively got in trouble with Dick Whittington and or Snot, my pet bug, my pet creepy crawler. All right, continue.
So you bowled,
Yeah.
and you had a filthy mouth with your cousin.
Filthy mouth.
You're lascivious. But yeah, you know, you standing outside with the remnants of the kids who are still waiting to get picked up, and like
Peak of puberty.
13 years old. I mean,
On fire.
en fuego, and
Nice accent.
yeah, en fuego. And
now you sound like more
and
like
you're
me.
standing there talking to like girls,
Ugh,
and you're just trying your damnedest
goodness gracious.
to like get them to acknowledge you
Get
and
your
make
mind
them
on
laugh.
Homework already.
And like all you hear is like from the distance, and you're just and you're in Newark, so you're like, sure.
Sure.
But then you turn over you look over, and
your own
around the
kin.
corner comes the 13-foot hood of my father's car. And he's coming around the corner to pick me up, and I'm just, and windows are down.
Oh
and
yeah.
He's got
the windows
friggin'
probably can't roll up.
probably
Is it an
right.
older car?
At the time, it wasn't older.
There you go.
I mean, we hence had that car for probably 20 more years. So
Excellent.
yeah, it got old.
Well, that's my kind of
But yeah, man, the
I like that.
freaking 97.9, it was just blaring.
And all the women flocked to your feet.
Absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you felt that merengue pigeonholed you into writing merengue music. No,
Well, that's what I was going to say is I wrote completely not that style of music.
Right,
It was
you were more
not
of
dance
a-
music. It wasn't salsa. It wasn't
like
merengue. It was more from
Boyz II Men,
Spain.
Brian McKnight.
Yeah, it was like Spanish R&B.
Balladeer, flamenco.
Yeah, it was like a mixture of like American R&B, because I'm like a Boyz II Men nut. Like that's kind of like where like my singing all started, was with the harmonies of Boyz II Men, and
Yeah.
the three of us equally so.
Very lucky.
Yeah, and also like combined with like some flamenco, because we were into that kind of like acoustic, like the virtuosity of all that, and I would say, I don't know if jazz is the right word for it, but you know, it wasn't straight ahead pop, but it certainly wasn't like as jazzy as like salsa is. Like jazz is like pure Afro-Cuban
Wow, I don't
salsa.
even think of it as that. I mean, obviously, I didn't listen to a ton of salsa growing
Yeah,
up.
if you listen to it, I mean, like it is remarkable
It is,
how
yeah.
like how
Flute.
advanced like the jazz is in salsa
Wow.
music. It's remarkable. I love it now. I've never written a song in that style, because it's just not my like forte. You know, maybe I've drawn some influence from it here and there, but
You always get very emotional when, like, there are days where you're like, oh, yeah, I was driving to whatever, the supermarket, and you're like, yeah, I was just listening to Spanish music on the way there, and I was just like, really feeling it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's such a part of you, but
yeah, it is.
did you ever want to, like, back to our original question, was kind of like, did you feel like you had to write in Spanish, or did you want to write in English, or?
I think a piece of it was kind of like, hey, you know, there's a gap here that no one's filling.
What gap? Oh, you mean a gap,
the-
like a market?
Yeah,
Like in the,
100%.
you wanted to make the money?
Yeah, that's a little racist. No. But that indiscernible accent, just yeah. No, there was like, I mean, at the time,
Go ahead.
at the time, there was absolutely no one in the Latin, and I can't even call it Latin per se, but in the Spanish market,
Okay.
who was like doing Boyz II Men style R&B combined with like American pop, combined with like classical piano and like flamenco guitar, and just like
Yeah,
we had a
your
very unique
classical
thing going for us.
upbringing. Totally. And you compose. What was everybody's role, essentially?
We all
Your little boy band.
yeah, I technically was a boy band. We just didn't dance or anything like that. God forbid.
Oh, you should have.
We should have. The three of us. So I was our producer,
Okay.
and I was our music director.
So
So it was like an
arranged.
arranger.
Okay. So
I
you
arranged, composed, recorded, engineered, mixed.
you chose the chords. You
Chose the chords, chose the arrangements, would put like arranged all the back vocals, so like certain, did counterpoint and things like that,
Yeah.
and did like some advanced composition.
Okay.
For our pieces.
Yeah.
Juan was like definitely our lead writer.
Okay.
He was like our top line guy. He wrote all
Lyricist or melody?
both. He was
Okay.
Juan would bring ideas to the table that were like just super hooky top lines.
Wow.
And
He's got a great voice.
he's got a great singing voice too.
Oh,
Always
I
Juan
like
was
those.
one of those little bastards though. To your point when we talk about prodigies, not a music lesson
Not
to
a
his
real word.
name,
Oh,
but he was one of those kids
one of those kids you wanted to slap.
He was just one of those like he was a cute little kid. He was like 2 feet tall.
Aw.
And he had
Wow, when he was 18 too?
when he was 13 he was really short. And now he's like way taller than me.
Oh boy.
But he was just one of those kids that had vibrato when he was like 7.
Vibrato doesn't mean everything.
No, I know.
As a musical theater person who didn't get her vibrato until...
I didn't get my vibrato till I
Late.
was 18. How old were you?
Oh, I don't remember because it wasn't that important to me.
The
But
only
he
reason
had natural vibrato?
Yeah, well cuz his mother was a previously professional
No
singer.
shit. Well,
Yeah.
then,
Yeah. So we had that in
makes a lot
common
of
too,
sense.
you know?
Yeah.
But only
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't get I was too scared to sing in front of my dad.
Oh,
Like Juan and Serge's mom
we're always humming
would
a little tune.
like yourself
Yes.
would sing around the house
Goodness
all day,
gracious.
every
Yeah.
day. If she's doing dishes or making
Yep.
dinner, she's singing.
My
like,
dad was
singing.
shouting Pink Floyd at the top of his lungs.
Yeah, and she had a really nice, a pretty voice.
Oh,
Yeah.
very
She cut a
nice.
record back in the day, which is a big deal. You know, you
Yeah.
couldn't just cut a damn record. Like someone had to be behind it. You know?
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, so they were,
They were
exposure.
Yeah, they were immersed.
Awesome. That's beautiful. That is
Yeah.
how you learn the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is
So
funny.
he was top line lyricist,
Yeah.
melody, hookaloo, and Serge was also a fantastic singer. He still is.
So I would say this about Serge: he was probably the most fashion forward musically, and explains where he is
He's
now
so
in his
good
music
looking.
career too. No, I don't mean physically.
Oh, no,
I mean
okay.
musically.
I thought he was like the trench coat guy, like the. Let me show you what I just
probably,
purchased.
but like he was
This is from Macy's.
he was definitely musically the most adventurous. Like he does music now that's very experimental.
Most indeed.
We were pop.
Yeah.
But Serge really gave us a unique angle in that, like, he was kind of thinking from
Yeah.
a different, and much like I would bring classical influence to the thing,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
like, oh, that's a interesting thing to do
Yeah.
here, you know? He would kind of go like, well, what if the back vocal did something like this, or like, what if the melody did like this movement here
Mm-hmm.
instead of, he like we all were very free in how much we were able to contribute. But I was probably the more of the three of us. I was probably the most technical.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
you were
like
the one pressing buttons.
I was pressing
that was kind
buttons.
of your function.
I did all the instrumentation.
Okay.
You know, so it was
That's
like,
why you have all these recordings on your computer.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow. You hang on to all your hard drives for the most part?
I have those too.
You have. Yep. Yeah.
You know, I actually think my Dell is still in the storage unit.
It sounds like you're referring to a man.
My Dell.
My Dell. My guy named Dell. He's
Yeah.
still in his storage
I
basement.
keep Dell in the storage unit.
Unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you?
Temperature controlled and it has oxygen, just in case anyone's really concerned
If you're
about
concerned
how
about
we're
Dell.
treating Dell.
Yeah, Dell's fine.
Yeah.
Dell's asleep.
Turn another cheek. Turn a cheek.
Mm-hmm.
Turn your cheek. What is the phrase?
Turn the other
Turn
cheek.
a blind cheek. No.
Catherine,
Richard.
you are.
Richard. I
You
gotta
are
tell you,
crumbling
your
before
name,
me.
When I met Rich said, "My name's Rich, short for Richard," and I went, "Okay." And he's like, "It's not a great name." Do you still stand by what you said?
I don't like my first name.
Why? It's
I've-
fine.
I have learned to make my first name my superpower for myself.
When
if
was
that
it
makes sense.
not your superpower? When was the
The last
lowest
time?
point of your name?
The lowest point
The lowest point of your name. Can you remember?
does all of school count?
Tell us, Rich.
You were in the first grade making fun of Dick Whittington.
Yeah.
I had to be Dick Whittington. So
I think Dick Whittington was Scottish.
I don't care where Dick Whittington was from. Dick Geneval, on the other hand,
Was.
Hispanic and Italian.
Very nice.
And it's hard to get away from a name that everybody knows has like a pun associated to it.
Yeah.
It's not like just the kids in my school in particular was just so
No,
mean
of
and
course not.
crafty.
Yeah.
Nope, it's literally the world. After the 1800s, Dick just wasn't. I've actually considered multiple times now, going by Dick, just because it's like, you know what, I'm gonna lean into this.
This is Dick Geneval.
Why?
You have to
that voice?
You have to have an announcer voice.
I don't have a good announcer voice.
Give me all right. I'll do something with my announcer voice. Give me like a line to say. Give me a Spanish.
As an announcer,
yeah.
In Spanish.
Give me a
no,
Spanish line.
I don't
to
speak
say.
Spanish well enough to
And I
even be able
certainly
to
don't.
fake what an announcer would say in Spanish.
Give me all right. What did you do? No, that was a vamp. That was a vamp on a piano. That was
Yeah.
a sexy woman with a cut up to
Yeah.
here and a cut down to there.
Yeah, you have a
what
feather
did,
boa
all right,
around your neck
Tell
with
me
that
that you
one.
shot the bed, and I'm going to be a vamp.
A vamp?
Yeah.
What's your vamp name?
No.
I have to
We'll
wake you up.
figure it out.
I have to wake you up in the
all
middle of
right.
the night
I
if this is
don't
gonna
know.
work.
Oh man. Dick Geneballs.
What?
Well, I have to steal your nickname from your. When I was
That's
a
your
kid. All right, now
vamp
my
name?
vamp name is Sherry Schmaltz.
I like that.
Sherry Schmaltz.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sherry.
What did you do?
Sherry Schmaltz.
Why are you all of a sudden a quiet Irish person like myself? Italian?
Because it's the middle of the night.
All right.
And there's a boom on the mattress.
All right, let's do this again.
All right. I'm nudging you.
All right, nudge, nudge.
Sherry.
Yes, honey.
Sherry,
Honey, spit it out, why don't you?
I shit the bed.
What quite don't do whilst you mean, my darling? Sherry Schmaltz needs an answer toot sweet.
I don't know how else to say this, Sherry, but I literally...
Say it in English or Spanish, if you must.
I literally shit the bed.
Goodness gracious, you mean like in a novel with writing? Like a poet? Literally? Like in literature?
Yes.
You shit the bed.
Literally and literally.
Oh, let's talk
Shat
about
the
that.
bed. Literary? Literary?
That's great. Yeah, I think we should think about that more often.
The similarity between literary and literal?
Yeah. Is that a word?
I'm sure they're related somehow.
Let's continue.
It was written.
Goodness gracious, darling. I love it when you try to turn me on. Sherry Schmaltz really does like a schmaltzy beverage. And we're going to shit into this cup. And that's how Two Girls, One Cup happened, I think. It was
probably.
between a married couple named Rich and Sherry Schmaltz.
Do you know what
In
schmaltz
the
is?
basement of the basement of Belleville. One side was lava, one side was finished, a finished basement.
Yeah.
What did I? What?
I said, here's something I recently learned. You know how the kids say I was this old, or I was today
I was
years old.
today years old when
I was today years old when I found out that the word schmaltz is a real thing.
Smelling schmaltz?
Yeah, schmelling schmaltz.
Yeah, you shared this with me, and
I
then
did.
I promptly forgot because I needed to make space in my brain for more important
For
things.
real things.
Yeah, what did you say?
Things that'll actually improve life. Schmaltz is like chicken fat that you would keep.
Oh, yes.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
frying your food in the schmaltz
Right.
was like fancy because like who had enough chicken to like store the chicken fat back then? So like you would say, oh, that's so schmaltzy.
Besides eating? What are you talking about?
No, I'm just saying like there wasn't. We've talked
It's
about.
a rich person's thing?
I think it was equated with being fancy because it was rare that you had like just like tons of meat available. And that's the name of my porn, by the way. Tons of meat. And yeah.
Rich and rich.
Like
and
duck
sherry
fried,
schmaltz.
like duck fried frites. They fried in duck fat. You're like, ooh, that sounds fancy.
But you're presuming that I discard the duck carcass and just keep its fat? Is that what?
Not presuming that. No,
well,
I'm
then
just
it's
saying.
not a rich thing. That's a poor thing. You eat the whole animal. That's a gratitude thing.
Even having the animal was a privilege.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. So if you had schmaltz lying
what are we
around,
talking? Is schmaltz then a word from like the 1200s? I don't know.
it may be. I don't know. I think it's Hebrew or Yiddish. I don't know, but I think it's. I think the etymology of like when nowadays we go, oh, how it's so schmaltzy, meaning like
Yes.
it's so over the top, it's so extra.
Velvet. Oh, right on.
If you're cooking your food in chicken fat,
Yeah.
it's
The
like
extravagance
it's
of that.
extravagant. It's like it's so so sherry schmaltz.
Sherry schmaltz.
Yeah.
Darling, life is nothing but a pit patter and a bubble gum. Play the piano for me, will you? Ding, 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 ding. Actually, is the sound effect that your piano makes when you strike the keys? Is it dick to dick, dick, dick to
Yeah.
dick, dick,
Yeah.
dick to dick,
You're not-
Nickelodeon?
Boy, you get a real kick out of yourself. I like that. You know how people go dun 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 dun. I go dick 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 dick, dick 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 dick. Yeah.
Oh, did your band have? This will.
I play the
The
Nano.
yeah.
Yeah.
The Pen 15 Nano.
I had a cousin who called it a Panano.
Oh, Panano? Really? I used to call the guitar the Unkentar.
Yeah.
And I used to say Unk Umbrella.
Oh, we have it pulled up here. Schmaltz. Schmaltz is a noun derived from the German verb schmalzen, meaning to melt. The verb can be traced back to Germanic root schmelten, which survives the modern English verb to smell. Yeah. Okay. So Yiddish speaking, use schmaltz to refer to kosher poultry fat.
Oh.
There you go.
Well, then,
We kind of nailed that. Yes, schmaltz is the Yiddish word for rendered chicken fat.
butter schmaltz.
Where do you see butter schmaltz?
Right above the word history. The big
Oh, wow.
history. Butter
Look at
schmaltz.
that.
I think butter schmaltz is the cousin of sherry schmaltz.
That's I would be butter schmaltz.
You're butter schmaltz and
Yeah.
sherry schmaltz. Walk into a corner store, a bodega in Newark, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. With their, I don't know the rest of this story. Somehow this is going to.
We're definitely toward the end of the episode anyway,
Times.
so it's all right. We've made it through pretty much. Oh, that's what schmaltz looks like
We
too.
have some. Oh, you know what that looks like?
Oh, don't say it.
Dell's ice, like Italian ice, or not Italian ice.
Oh, it does
from
look
Rhode
like
Island.
It does look like melted melted
yeah,
lemon.
like it looks
Italian
like a
ice.
lemon ice.
You call it lemon ice too?
If it's lemon ice, I don't call it. If it's
No, but you don't
chocolate
call
ice,
it-
it's chocolate ice. What are you talking about?
No, I know,
Like
but
Kleenex versus tissue?
well, I guess yeah, but no, I meant like you don't say like lemon Italian ice or lemon shaved ice or whatever. Like
Absolutely
you just
not.
call it lemon ice.
What are you talking about?
Well, I know I've been made fun of before for referring it to lemon ice.
Lemon. It's ice is
But I'm saying like
an ice.
they're
We're going
like-
out
but
for
like-
an ice.
Yeah, yeah. But some people like say
The
well,
whole
it's
thing?
lemon Italian ice.
Right. Well,
or lemon.
French ice. I've never heard of that.
I don't know what French ice is. Yeah.
What's Spanish ice? Shaved ice.
No.
Maybe it's all Italian.
There's a thing called my uncle used to run what's called a piragua stand, and he would stand by the park with a thing and.
And all the kids would come?
Yeah, he had like shaved ice
Really?
and put like coconut.
You freaking kidding
Coconut
me?
stuff on it,
And
yeah.
what does that word mean?
Here's the thing. I was never taught Spanish as a kid.
Okay.
And my English-speaking family called it a piragua stand. Now, here's what I do know.
So call in and
Yeah.
tell us how to really pronounce what this was.
A paragua is
Paragua?
an umbrella.
Oh.
So I could imagine
Well, then that probably.
maybe the real way to say it is a paragua stand.
right,
I don't
and not
know.
a piragua.
Yeah, not a
Piragua,
piragua.
paragua.
A piragua stand, as my family
Stand.
would say. Yeah.
Stand.
Yeah.
How many diphthongs are in that?
Stand?
Stand.
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 Yeah, I guess a few. Yeah.
I was told recently that I don't have an accent
By whom?
by a New Jersey person from North Jersey.
Naturally.
What?
That doesn't count.
How?
North Jersey is...
What would count?
Because North Jersey is the accent that you identify.
And
so if
that is
someone from
why
there-
I took it as a great compliment.
They're
'cause
saying you don't have a North
fuck your
Jersey accent?
They said I don't have a New Jersey accent, except when I get super mad. But I wasn't super mad with them. Whenever I'm talking to you, I'll get an accent.
Yeah.
A
Because
regional
you're always super
accent.
mad when you talk to me.
There you go.
Yeah, I get it.
You got it?
I get it. I'm picking
Shelley
up what you're putting down.
Schmaltz gives you a
Throwing
golden
shade.
star.
Shelley Schmaltz
You
and her
will
shade.
not go to detention for having snot live in your desk locker.
In my
call
school,
it the
I think
desk
the
locker.
least of the problems would have been a kid having a creepy crawler named Snot in the desk.
Creepy.
I'm trying to think of the second half of that commercial. There was a line after that. Creepy crawlers.
Yeah, kids were packing
And then they
in
would
your
say
school.
something.
They didn't have creepy crawlers. They had
No,
guns.
Well, no, I don't. I didn't really go to a school that was that bad.
Right.
It was. There were bad kids, and they probably did some bad shit outside of school.
Yeah.
But
But not while we're learning.
kids were just acting up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
What
if-
kid doesn't act up though, you know?
Did you have kids that acted up a lot in your classes? Like in
A
elementary
lot.
school?
I mean, speak like. Oh man, here we go. You can play it. Is the audio entwined with this?
We might get it taken down.
No, I dare it. Let's play the creepy crawler
Let's
commercial.
spit in the face of YouTube.
Yep. And I'm gonna act it out while I watch it too.
You creeping? Oh, I'm so creeping and crawling.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, girls don't like bugs.
Yeah. Can you?
Only boys.
Is Snot?
No, snot was just a regular ass like beginner creepy crawler. You couldn't even fill it with juice.
Oh, it was a 1.0.
Whoa! And then you could also make your mother uncomfortable, but your dad's okay with it. He's also wearing a tie.
I was gonna say,
he's
he's also a
white guy.
professional.
Right? He's also a white professional, which is why my family bought the product.
See, now here's the difference between that, that demographic
Or I wanted to buy the product.
on the 80s commercials
Yeah.
and like what the real world would be for me. If I had a creepy crawler and try to show my dad, his reaction would be like,
Does
you play with these shit?
you play with
like
this
you
shit?
like these things?
You like these things? Yeah.
That would be it. My mother would be like, that would be that.
But let you do it, and your father would just
Yeah.
remind you subtly that like you should grow up.
Maybe I'm doing him a disservice.
Yeah.
He didn't talk to me very often, so like maybe that was just. But I love how like the parents in these commercials are so over the top.
Goodness gracious! And look at this girl
Emotional.
hanging onto her snot right here, her
Yes,
green one
yeah.
down here.
She is
Look at that
red.
face! What a great actress she is.
She is just ready to. That looks like a newer one though.
Newer,
That looks like a
like
2000 early
like
2000s.
1862 newer.
Nah, it's definitely not an
Wait,
80s
that
creepy
you're right.
crawler.
That person had a laptop. Who would
Yeah.
have thought that laptops were even around?
Yeah, creepy crawlers were not around. The one right above it, 1964. That's Oh my
60
God, these things have been around
shut
since the 60s? Or maybe
up.
those are real bugs because kids had really bad toys in the 60s.
Definitely.
These are just desiccated bugs.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh
Right.
my God.
Thingmaker.
Thingmaker.
So
All right,
creative.
guys. I don't know if you can see this.
So
Maybe
creative.
we'll intercut it. I don't. Is that a cigarette? Did you see that girl smoking that cigarette?
I'm not putting it. I mean, I'm definitely.
Maybe she was smoking one of the bugs.
I didn't know these things were around for
All right,
that
so
long.
that's exactly just a regular ass plastic ass bug is what snot was.
Yeah.
And he had a home.
But you made it
where
in the
he-
Thingmaker?
I made it. Oh, I don't know what it was called, but it was baked, I suppose.
Yeah.
I also had an easy bake up. Oh, what is that? Smash. This is perfect. Man, why wasn't I alive in the 60s? It's a long ass commercial too.
I know, yeah.
It's when people had a lot of time.
Editing was not, they had attention spans in the 60s.
Yeah.
They could still look at the commercial and be like, I still want that
Me,
thing.
a skip it. Can I tell you my skip it story?
yeah.
All right. One time I was playing with a skip it the way you shouldn't play with a skip it. Outside with probably my friend Matt or someone who I was
That's in the manual, by the way. You should not
must
play
play with
outside
a skip it with Matt.
indoors without Matt.
Oh, so we were not indoors.
No, I know.
Oh, okay. outdoors, but not playing with the skip the way you should. It was not around my ankle.
Oh,
it was
okay, I see.
instead flying. I was giving it some crazy ass momentum
With your hands
with my hand
around your wrist?
by Tiger Electronic Toys.
Was it around your wrist you were doing it?
Yeah, or just my hand, like doing it. We were in my backyard, and then boom, I let it go, and like, wow, it took a year
Yeah.
for it to get from my hand
Oh, yeah.
to through the window of my basement and into the basement, crashing through the window. My parents were home. Thankfully,
We're not home?
We're home.
Thankfully? Jesus.
Did I say no? I'm sorry. Thankfully, not in the basement.
Right.
Yeah, I said thankfully not in the, or maybe I didn't. Thankfully, not in the basement. And I went. That basement window still has tape on it to this very day. Because I don't think you can
Now that
is
Italian.
Italian.
That's Italian.
That's why I do improv.
There you go.
Because we just rolled with it.
Like a roll of tape.
Like, I intentionally broke this window with this amazing skip it you bought me. Let's just roll with this. This was funny, right? Like,
Allow this.
Allow this to.
Yes,
Ooh,
and
I
we'll tape
learned
it.
my lesson.
Man.
And we'll all forget that this happened. But yeah, creepy crawlers. So basically, Tiger Electronic Toys were the only times where I was ever in trouble.
Yeah.
I never made my own trouble. It was
Right.
it was always based on some commercial feat.
Exclusively though, the common denominator here is you
Yeah.
misusing the toys.
Well,
Creepy crawler in
I
the
think
desk.
Snot really wanted to live in my little desk locker.
maybe.
I call it a desk locker. It had
But
no
you did see that
combination.
you clearly saw on the commercial the reaction that the creepy crawler has on adults. And you
Woo!
and you risked it. Mrs. Bell.
No.
Could have had a heart
I don't,
attack.
You know what it probably was? I think, Belford.
Okay.
I think I was not paying attention to the reading.
You were playing with Snot.
Maybe I think I was playing with Snot.
Oh, that's
But here's the thing.
you're in the wrong.
I never played with anything loudly. I was always whispering like a good person.
Yeah.
Like a hey, I boomed the bed.
Yeah.
I used to call farts boombies.
You still call farts bumbies.
Okay. And
No judgment. let's just be accurate. That's all. Yeah.
so part of Yes Anthem, I don't know. I just love that we're doing this podcast because Yes and is such a wonderful way to have so much fun, and the fun keeps on going.
Mm-hmm.
What is that other Tiger Electronics song? Pringles. The fun don't stop. I think should be. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that one.
Greasy, not fun. We're gonna look that up. The old Pringles commercial. But anyway, the fun don't stop, Rich, when it has something to do.
That's true.
The Yes Anthem.
Yeah.
Again, if you're just tuning in, yes and is the improv philosophy that you accept one's offer, and that's what makes life so fun to just like keep going and accepting someone else's truth and someone else's stories and just sitting back and listening and learning and reacting and being okay with being taken aback. I think some of the people who let go the hand of what is labeled as the inner child are the people who pretend they know it all, or worse and more in depthly, have gotten themselves to a point where they are so hyper vigilant that they won't let anyone be privy to the fact that they might not know something.
Yeah.
I think that's sadder.
Yeah.
I think life
hard
is
life.
breathed into more and more oxygenated when you get to say, "Oh, I didn't know that. Tell me more about your perspective." And I think that's what makes improv scenes flourish.
Yeah. I know we're down to the wire on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
episode right now,
which
but
is great. We could just
I
button it
wanted
up.
to just button it up what you
Yeah.
just said. I heard Sadhguru today say
Oh.
that if you go through your life basing your value on what you know, you're identifying with your intelligence and your knowledge,
Wow,
which
I was
is
just thinking about that.
limited.
Yeah.
But if you identify with your ignorance, you are boundless, because in the cosmos, you will always know less than you know. So you're better off identifying with your ignorance, just admitting that you don't know everything.
And that is a muscle that you have
Yeah.
that you should find it a happy exercise to keep revisiting
Yeah.
on the daily basis until it's like speaking English or speaking Spanish.
Like this.
All right. Anyway.
Anyways.
All right. We will see you guys next time.
Yep.
Thanks for listening.
Yep. Thank you.
We love you very much. We're so grateful for vibing with you today.
Love
All
you,
right.
Cat London.
I love you, Rich Jenna Balls.
Dick. Remember that commercial that would always end, Dick? That one little kid?
Yes.
I hated that commercial because it reminded me of my name. Bye, everybody.
Bye.